Believe Eric is standing inside with Chris Green, and he has some interesting stuff to talk about. So, Eric?
Doesn't.
No, we're inside, but this is fine because we're in the middle of a conversation that we're going to continue on and let you hear on part of this because this is great. It's Chris Green. Nice to have you on the show.
Here. Thanks for having us.
Nice to see you. I heard you were on last week as well,
Yep.
and I was kind of bummed I got to miss this because you're talking about one of my favorite subjects. We're talking about energy consumption, going green, like your shirt, and tell me a little bit about businesses and buildings versus cars. I was interested in this.
As we mentioned last week, there's a significant, buildings consume a significant amount of energy, more so than vehicles, and the focus on energy consumption right now is on vehicles, but everybody's missing the 800-pound gorilla on the table, which is buildings. And architects are uniquely positioned to really be a significant have significant influence on reducing that component of the energy consumption in our country. So architects are really key to this, as are real leader owners. So we are in a position here in the Vail Valley where we've got leaders in industry and leaders that have led their business to significance in the community. Mm-hmm. And what I'm trying to do is say, now's the time to take that leadership, and now's the time to take the energy and everything we've learned, capture the fact that we've got an enormous intellectual challenge of trying to get to a zero building energy budget, and let's use the resources we've got in the valley to get there.
Are there buildings in the valley, or are there leaders who have got to that point yet? Are there people who have zero energy?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Now there may be, and there's probably a few people off and here and there that have done the old earth sheltered house and that sort of thing, which is fine. Yeah. But we also have large homes, second or third or fourth homes in this valley that are consuming $2,000 or $3,000 a month in energy.
Yeah.
And we can do better than that. And these folks, we've got really intelligent owners in this valley that need to grab onto that and take the challenge on. What it means, however, is a kind of a paradigm shift in the way we do architecture, in that we have to do a lot of more upfront study and generation of models and thoughts on how we do that and test these models before we move forward into the actual execution phase.
Now, a lot of people think, when they think green energy, a lot of people think, oh, there's solar panels on top of this building. A lot of people think solar right away. I have a plumber friend, though, who's very, very interested in everything that he's building in all new construction. They're going completely geothermal. He says that's the wave of the future. Is there one that's better than the other?
There's no silver bullet.
Okay.
Geothermal is one element that is available, but you have to be careful on how you use geothermal and understand that what you're going to get out of geothermal and how it's used. There have been some people that have used it up here, and the results are a little they're not quite as happy with the results they're getting as what they thought they were going to get. And this is that kind of modeling that we have to go through. But there is no silver bullet. It's a combination of all of the above, and we have to change the way we think of how much energy can we harvest from the sites that we have. So harvesting that energy. Last week we showed a slide that said we get enough solar energy on each site to generate our houses for the rest of the year, or generate enough energy for the buildings that we have all year long, even in places like Seattle. So all we have to figure out is how to capture it.
And certainly that does apply here when we get 300-plus sun days a year.
Yeah, and it applies to electric photovoltaics as well as passive solar, solar collection devices, and hot water solar. But all of these things need to be studied and understood to see how they work into the overall component of the architecture.
We've got good ideas here, so how are we making these into a reality?
Well, again, we start. Step one is guys like me coming on and trying to encourage the people in the valley to say, call Chris Green, call Ago Studios, let's get, let's find out how to do this and let's start that ball rolling. It takes baby steps, and I do a lot of remodel work, and we're starting to get energy records. I start to evaluate the existing energy records, try and reduce the amount of energy and lighting, try to get natural ventilation in there. How are we reducing the consumption of the heat plant that we're putting in? Can we use solar? And then it takes a little bit of courage to go before some of the design review boards to say, we're going to put solar in. In fact, Colorado state law now says that if somebody wants to come through and do it, they can't be denied. So it's we're starting to see legislative efforts come in here to do that. We're looking at some of the ways we can get money back in the form of incentives. So there's a whole number of steps that we have to go through, but it takes baby steps. It takes a phone call. It takes a leadership and visionary phone call to say, let's get an architect on board that is ready to study this, and we're ready to put the resources behind it to get there.
The call is out there. The gauntlet has been dropped.
That's right.
Chris says he wants you to come help. And like you said, yeah, what a resource we have in this valley.
We do.
The fantastic minds and the key leaders in business who
That's
have
right.
made so much name for themselves wherever it may be.
And I think that's really important. That we can sit here and say, oh, it's so hard, it's so hard. Wait, this is an enormous but terrific challenge. And if we face up to it, this valley can become a leader in other resort valleys and resort communities throughout not only the country but the world to say, we've made a commitment and here's how we're putting it through.
Those business leaders watching the show today, how do they get a hold of you?
Give me a call. The studio number is 970-748-9474. You can reach me via email at chris@agostudios.com. And I'd be glad to field all callers, and we'll put the team together to do it right.
That sounds like a good thing. Well, we appreciate what you're doing. Thanks for caring about my kid's future. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, say hi to your kid as well.
I will.
Okay.
All right.
We'll be back with a lot more Plum TV right after this. We had to give Becky a little shout out, huh?
I love it.